Hi, are you thinking about starting an art career later in your life? You love creating, but you think it's too late? It's never too late. I started my art career, I started creating when I was in my 40s, and I wanted to share with you my story, maybe to give you some inspiration or share how it looked for me. So, in this short video, I will post an interview I recorded for Art by Artist channel, where you can learn about my story, inspiration, what is difficult for me, what challenges I face, and please let me know in comments if you can relate to any of that. But anyway, if you are thinking about starting creating art later in your life, don't wait any longer. Just start. Today is September 29th, 2024. Hello, my name is Marta Nowicka. I'm a Polish visual artist based in New Jersey, US. Thank you for inviting me for this interview. It's a pleasure to share my story and my artist journey. So how it started? I think I don't have a like typical story as other artists. So I was not a kid who was really into visual art. I was more into dancing or singing or acting. But of course, I like drawing and painting. I even remember winning an award in some school competitions. I remember liking my art classes, but it was not my main form of expression at that time. I'm left-handed, and I was always had a like horrible handwriting. So I guess I was thinking that I will never be a good visual artist. And I think for many years I believed that I don't have any talent, so I was not even trying to do art. But I guess there was a need and passion for that in me. So at some point in my life, I started thinking about doing visual art. And firstly, when I was 20 something, I enrolled into interior design courses. I always liked interior design. And we had to draw and we had to create floor plans. And I really like that. And I think some of those elements are still visible in my paintings. But then I stopped. But still, I had this need for me. So at some point, I think I was 42 or 43, I decided to join the art classes. And it was a painting class organized by one of the Warsaw art galleries. So for a couple of years, I was going to art classes there, and we were painting every week, and I really enjoyed that. At the beginning, that I was treating that only as pure as a hobby, but at some point, I wanted to be my like professional life or semi-professional life. So I started learning art in other places. I did like 1 year course in Warsaw Academy of Art. I did some summer courses in UK, and when we moved to the US, of course, I started taking art courses in different art schools in the US as well. So, what influenced me as an artist? I was born and raised in Warsaw, Poland during the communism, and I think it had an influence on me. Because of limited resources, we didn't have so many toys as kids in Western countries. So we had to be very creative in the way we were playing and the way we were creating games. So I think that developed my creativity, and the fact that for many years I had to create those imaginary places or imaginary objects. I think that sparked my imagination and my creativity. Another aspect of that is that we lived in a typical communist apartment buildings, and they were very gray. And my memory from childhood was that buildings were gray, streets were gray, people were dressing gray. Probably it was not true, but that's my memory, because I remember every time we were watching some movies from US or Western countries, Western European countries, I was so inspired by all the colors and vibrancy of those movies. Another aspect of that is that in communism we couldn't travel. So, and I always was dreaming about traveling to those distant places. So, as soon as the system has changed and we were allowed to travel, whenever I could, I was traveling. So, travel is a huge part of my inspiration. Everything I could see there, all the vibrant colors of Caribbean or South Europe or Asia, colorful plants, flowers, architecture, but not only visual elements but also emotional aspects of those travels. This is something that really inspires me, and I think my artworks are the result of those emotions and visual elements. If we are talking about inspiration taken from other artists, I really love Paul Cézanne and Gauguin, especially the colors and the way they use lines. I love Vasily Kandinsky, the way he uses shapes and lines and colors. I love expressionists. There are a few Polish artists like Jacek Jerka or Rafał Albiński, which are creating in a magical realism style, which I really love. There are some current printmakers that I admire, so I take inspirations from different artists and different mediums. I I'm abstract painter, but I'm also printmaker and digital artist. I paint with acrylics. I started with oils, but because of the long drying time, I switched into acrylics and mixed media. I paint with watercolors. I tried encaustic. Um, I create digitally. I create mixed media with digital art. And for last few years, my main focus is on printmaking. I love printmaking, and in that area, I'm focusing on creating monotypes, monoprints, um, using colorgraph techniques, dry point, mix of these techniques. And what I really love about printmaking that they are less predictable than painting. They are not the direct process because first you need to create a plate, a matrix, and then the image is transferred to paper using etching press, for example. So you actually see the final result when you pull the print from the etching press, and it's always this element of surprise which I really love. And I love the working with paper and embossing paper while doing printmaking. Lately I'm experimenting a lot with the way I create my plates, the shape of the plates, but also materials I'm creating with. So just a week ago I started experimenting with new material for creating plates, which is a polymer clay. So, what advice would I give to my younger self? I think don't wait till you are 42, 43. Start creating earlier because you have a real passion for that. That would be my advice to myself. What's the biggest challenge of being an artist for me? I guess the fact that I'm so into so many different mediums and techniques and processes, so it's hard for me to focus on one. And I mean, I love that. I love exploring different things and being like a scientist, discovering. But from sales and marketing point of view, it's a challenge because it's hard for me to create like a very cohesive body of works and being recognized only by one style or type of works because I'm in so many different places. I love painting, I love creating digitally, I love printmaking. I my paintings and digital artworks are very vibrant with bold colors, sometimes even with neon colors, and my artworks in printmaking very often are black and white or black and white with just touch of color. So yeah, I think focusing on one style or one medium, it's a challenge for me. Another challenge for me is because of my some health issues. Is for example doing art fairs. I had the pleasure to do art fairs in New York City, Dallas, Miami, Jersey City, but doing like 4 day art first when I have to stay and stand all the time, it's very challenging for me, physically challenging for me. But I love that. I love talking to people. I love showing them my art. I love getting feedback. So even in spite of the fact that it's difficult and even painful for me, I love doing that. Um, do I listen to music? Yes, I do. I listen to soundtracks, movie soundtracks, but most of the time I listen to country music, which is interesting because country music is not my like favorite type of music, but I have few artists I really like, and I love creating when listening to them. What's the best reaction someone has had to my artwork? I really love the reaction of kids who are looking at my artwork. They say that it's very colorful, very joyful, very bright. And actually, that's my goal as an artist. I want to bring some joy, energy, positive emotions, and empowerment via my art. So I'm happy when people say that my art is energizing or they feel happy when they look at it. I don't want to shock, I don't want to shake people, I don't want to scare people, I don't want to be controversial. I just want to bring some positive emotions or moment of reflection about the nature, about the beauty which is surrounding us. Regarding my like visual language, what I'm really interested in is this interplay between shapes and lines, textures and colors, about contrast. I love playing with different textures, with different shapes, even with different surfaces, meaning that in one painting I can have a part of the painting which is matte and part of the painting which is glossy. So yeah, I love playing with those contrasts, whether it's color or textures or lines or shapes. So that's basically my artist journey and my artist story. Thank you so much for listening, and have a wonderful day. And I wish you a lot of joy when looking at art, either if it's my art or beautiful art created by other artists. Have a wonderful day. Thank you. Bye.